Welcome back to another review, this time for the anime Gachiakuta, which had 24 episodes and was airing from summer to autumn of 2025. Synopsis on AniList. The boy lives in a floating town where the poor scrape by and the rich live a sumptuous life, simply casting their garbage off their side into the abyss. When he's falsely accused of murder, though, his wrongful conviction leads to an unimaginable punishment, exile off the edge with the rest of the trash. Down on the surface, the cast of waste of humanity has bred vicious monsters, and to travel the path of vengeance against those who cast him into hell, the boy will have to become a warrior. So, this story is about Rudo, our main character, who's in the middle. He is living in this floating town. As is stated here, this town is separated into the wealthy, good-looking area, and then the more or less slum area, which looks very worn down, very dirty. But overall, everyone, is just dumping trash down the side of this floating town. Now, Rudo, he's living there. He appreciates trash. He tries to get the last bit of life out of any trash-related items. But he gets, as is also stated here, he gets a wrongful conviction to a crime and punished by being thrown off the edge. That is the, beginning. The idea is, hey, he wants to take revenge. He wants to go back up to this floating town and take revenge on those people that wrongfully convicted him and threw him off the edge. On the surface, we find out that the whole world is covered in trash because of this floating town. It is a very hostile environment. We have beasts that are, made out of trash roaming around. We have some kind of miasma that is very dangerous to breathe in. And we have seemingly a whole society down on the surface area. And Rudo meets a couple of those and then joins one of the groups down on the surface to try and take, later on revenge. Additionally, this world has like a whole system of like weapons called vital instruments, where people take an item that they hold very dear and can transform that into a weapon, which is a very interesting concept. Depending on what kind of item it is, what kind of relationship you have to the item, more or less determines what the item can do, which is the weapon system, power system is very interesting, very nice touch for the story. Overall, it feels very, shōnen, battle shōnen like, at least in the build-up. However, it was very enjoyable. The first 24 episodes, very enjoyable. Normally, shōnen not my thing. However, I do tend to enjoy the first couple seasons of every shōnen after it gets a little bit stale. I feel like we are not going to have that here. But we find out more stuff about the different characters we get introduced to, about their vital instruments, more or less. And, we explore more of the surface world and more about some of the background information containing Rudo and his vital instrument. There's a lot more information there, story-wise. Don't really want to spoil too much, because it is pretty interesting, especially towards the end. There's some interesting ideas floating around and revelations, which is very nice. Overall, animation is very good. I like the style that is used here. I feel like we get more and more animes with unique art style. This is one of them, which is standing out a lot in their art style and presentation. I do not like the main character that much. He's too loud for me. It's a little bit You know, it's not my type of character, just gonna be honest. But I do like some of the other characters. I like the relationships we get to build up. You know, it feels a very shonen type. We have like a character that is really good at fighting or really good at, you know, using their right instruments we can learn from. We have another character that is, you know, the cool older brother. A lot of these characters you do know from these types of stories. It makes sense to have them here. Some characters very surprising in, you know, some of the scenes. Can't really tell you who specifically I mean, but that was a very big surprise in the last couple episodes. A very welcome one, to be honest. It is a really well-made anime. Again, animation, I do have an example I want to showcase. Now, this one is a little bit out there as an example because this is from the animation style far above the rest of the show. Just gonna say it. It is going to be a bit spoilery. I'm trying to not show too much, just for your information. But this is one of the, you know, fights that had a lot of budget behind it. As you see, we have a lot of stuff going on. And that is all I want to show. Not gonna show anymore. And that one fight was insane. Insanely well done, insanely animated. The rest of the show was still very well done. Some of the characters, the backstories of some of the characters. You know, the show is not shying away from tackling some topics that may not be to your liking. But it does it very well. We have a whole system on the surface. We have different groups that seem all to be responsible for different things. They all have their own goal. We get a lot of information, especially towards the end. We get published with a lot of revelations, a lot of different information we did not have before that, you know, it makes me very excited for the second season. I hope we can continue the quality and hopefully we don't go too much into the, you know, the cycle of the typical shonen battle shows from yesteryear. Now, ratings wise, Gachiakuta has on any list 81%. My anime list has it at 8.2. With 100k votes, you know this is a very good rating. A lot of votes, still over 8. It's pretty rare. I would give it a 9 out of 10. It is a very good show, very well animated. If you have time, it is in your interest area, definitely recommend it.